Good morning, and welcome back to another long rest. I am Brandon,
And I'm Logan.
and today we're going to be discussing what to do when it isn't your turn and when you're not in the spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. So we all know that feeling of being in the spotlight, getting to be the one character that's talking, explaining the narrative of what they're doing. But whenever you're in the passenger seat, whenever you're watching that happen, what are the best things you could be doing as a player? First and easiest thing is to be an active listener.
The first thing that always comes to my head, and I had maybe mentioned this before, was Travis Willingham from Critical Role. I'm sure if you're watching this, you more than likely have heard of him 10 times fold. He's the epitome of the best active listener that I could ever think of. Because if
Yeah.
somebody else is in the spotlight and they're having this moment and it comes to a role or comes to something serious, if you watch Travis's face, it is always magical because he is uplifting and actively listening to that story so well that he is just enjoying that moment.
Yeah. He's there for the moment of the
Yeah,
story with his friends, and you can
yeah,
tell. And it really brings the magic to the table for whenever he's around it.
yeah. I mean, when that natural 20 comes, I mean, he's like, it seems like he just gets uplifted from his chair
Yeah.
somehow, like floats into the air and he's like excited. And he's just always I can only imagine sitting at the table with him,
Yeah.
watching you do like if I were to be in the spotlight and I do something and somebody else is around the table doing that, you're just like you're hyped. You feel that energy
Oh
and
yeah.
it just correlates really well.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And that would be reacting to the good and the bad. If something horrible, absolutely horrible, is happening, and you're just sitting there deadpan, just maybe that's your character. But if it's not, are you really invested in the story?
Yeah, and and at the same time, I always play the game where when I'm actively listening, it's Brandon. I kind of step away at that
Mm-hmm.
point, and I because that's a way maybe for me to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Um, and not feel like if because I'm in a character, I feel like it can be kind of easy to maybe jump into that. Uh, oh, hey, I want to add this into this moment, and I
Yeah.
might interrupt it because this is kind of. I think this might be kind of pertinent instead of maybe hitting that from a more maybe it's a mature standpoint in my head. Just going, oh, I'm gonna really enjoy this. I'm gonna hype Logan up, and I'm going to be biting my nails in front of him, and he's going to know that I'm terrified for this situation that he's going through with this terrifying patron that just walked through this door,
Yeah.
and is like got Logan in this trance.
No, I agree. I like to do the same where you kind of like step out of the moment as a character,
Yeah,
and instead of looking through your character eyes at the situation, you look through your player's eyes as if you're watching the movie
yeah,
unfold.
absolutely.
So you not only get to see your character's involvement in the story, but that in a unique perspective, as if it were you, as if you were watching that movie.
Yeah,
So that I agree with you in the same sense. Whenever I'm playing and there is that narrative moment, I just like to sit back and
yeah,
absorb it all in as myself
yeah.
to enjoy the story.
I feel like that kind of morphs really well into finding ways to support. I feel like
Mm,
they're kind of in tandem to a certain aspect. So supporting that spotlight
yeah, absolutely.
character.
And what not supporting that spotlight looks like is interjecting your character's thoughts or I don't know actions
Yeah,
into that scenario when the spotlight was on somebody else. Like if you interject and steal that spotlight, not conducive.
no, and every table's a little different. I think one of the most important things is if you're sitting at one of those larger tables, as in like our helm game, you have 5 people around there. Spotlights can be unique. When
Mm-hmm.
you have 5 players sitting around a table, for sure, not every session is somebody getting a spotlight in that moment, and it might not be. Depending on how often you play, it could be months before you feel that perfect like I am the main story arc or like the
Mm,
main
yeah,
section right now. The dungeon master is filling my cup right now, and so for somebody to rob that when you maybe just had your chance a couple weeks ago and nobody
yeah.
robbed during yours, feels bad, man.
No, yeah,
It
I would get that.
hurts.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different ways to be supportive in those matters, and it can be in character, and it can also be out of character.
yeah.
I guess if we want to split it into two and talk about combat and role playing, because I kind of feel like we've talked about them being two different sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
In combat, a lot of things can be very specific. When it's your player's turn, being that active listener and supporting them, and okay, so they are going to do this section. They're going to do this right now. I know that I can gel maybe with this, or that's not really going to line up with maybe this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking through my stuff and I'm searching through what I can do. I'm going to get lined up because now I know this is a very specific option, but they've decided to do XYZ. Me gearing up for, to say, activating flight speed or something, because now I can get over to him quicker. Something along those lines, like being a supportive character, that kind of flows into that in my mind in the role plays or in the spotlight perspective.
Yeah. But also, just being an active listener means you're going to support your team during that whole combat.
Yeah, very much so. Yes.
In my mind, where my mind went is, say everybody's setting up the rogue's big sneak attack to damage the big bad. So early on, the bard inspires the rogue, and then the cleric casts guiding bolt on the big bad. So now the rogue gets advantage, and then you're the warlock. You don't know exactly how you're going to contribute, so you just cast Eldritch Blast. And you stole the guiding bolt for an Eldritch Blast. Which, no offense, Eldritch Blast is great, but that's 1d10 versus the rogue's sneak attack damage of whatever insane sneak attack is. Right? So just you not being an active participant and accidentally doing something could completely ruin what your other party's been setting up.
Yeah, true. That was that moment for that rogue to be in the spotlight.
Exactly.
And you unintentional, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of them are unintentional, but you stole it. On the role play side, I always kind of think, I think a lot of us around the table, jokes are innate and they happen all the time. And it's so hard sometimes when something funny is, or something phrased, and that you're going to get a crack out of it, but it's a serious moment and you are discussing with that patron that you've never known, and you've got all these powers for so long from this individual, and you're finally at one point to communicate with that patron, and it is a very serious, deliberate moment. And then somebody goes, "Oh yeah, like my mom," just something just completely breaks it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, did that hurt in that moment?
Yeah. To break the moment for somebody else sucks. If it's your own moment and you want to crack the jokes, that's fine. But if it's somebody else's moment and you're just interrupting it, if it's okay with your party, maybe. Yeah. But even then, just know what you're stealing away from them.
Yeah, just the potential of that really cool moment that everybody remembers for a long time.
Yeah.
Just not quite as cool. And it's hard to get back into those moments too,
Yeah, it is.
So
save the joke for break time or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I guess that goes well with spotlight stealing.
Yeah.
I think that kind of goes with we could probably say nothing else and everybody would know exactly what we're talking about. But don't feel the need to, when that player gets that moment to be the center of attention, it's perfectly okay. You don't feel like you need to step in front and co-host it, or even in short, steal it completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let that player character explore whatever it is, knowing you're going to get your turn and you want that same treatment. You want to have your moment just as much as they do.
Yeah, I know I've done it before too. I'll be the first to call myself out as many times as you want. That's the whole reason that I called Logan and said, "Hey, let's play one-on-one D&D," so I can just be the main character 24/7 and nobody can interrupt me. Joking, maybe. No. I am, I promise. But no, and I know I've done it before. And when you reflect back on that and you go, "Dang, I really screwed the pooch. I really should not have spoken up at that moment or taken that, because maybe that one individual hasn't had that chance in a long time, or that one individual doesn't role play all the time, which is perfectly fine. But this time, they are in it, and I stole it, and I could see that leaving them, in that moment.
Yeah, that little bit of defeat in their eyes.
Yeah, that's a very good word for defeat, which in no manner should we ever want to defeat anybody else around the table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. So, do you have any other thoughts?
The last thing would be enjoy the story being told.
Absolutely.
And we kind of hit on it before.
Sit back
And
soak it in.
Yeah, sometimes larger parties get split into smaller groups and subsections, little cliques, if you will. And when that click is not, maybe operating, these three are doing something and they've been friends, and you just kind of get to sit back, be the front row seat of that story being told, and just enjoy it, and we're gonna say something. Sorry.
No.
Take the time to, you can actively listen, prep some notes, like even if you're just jotting down a couple of things, because maybe who they're talking to, they're in the moment, and maybe there's some really important information being told, and they're not quite writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
So even just a couple of words at a time, there could be something very pertinent that would be meaningful later. Look at your player's sheet, see if there's any. I think you had kind of alluded to it before when we were talking about this, was check your features and traits in those moments, like when you have that time, you know.
Refresh yourself on your character. That way you can go, oh man, I should be using this feature that I have looked at once,
Yeah.
Or just know what you can use for whatever's to come up.
Very true.
Yeah.
So hey, be a good team player and be that active listener that we know that everybody out there is.
Yeah. Share the spotlight. That way everybody can enjoy it. Enjoy the game a whole lot more. Those are just our thoughts. Leave us yours in the comments down below.
Type them up. Let us know. If you have any fun stories or sad stories about spotlight stealing, let us know, and we'll gladly listen. But hey, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of The Long Rest. Don't forget to tune in next Saturday. If you're looking for that new favorite podcast, because you haven't quite found one, you've been searching.
There's one every Wednesday at noon.
Right here.
Right here. In Destiny. Called Commander's Log.
Yeah, you can watch us play one-on-one D&D. Let us know. We're slowly getting better, slowly making things a little better as we go, and we'd love to have you over there and tune in.
Yep.
Till then, guys.
See ya.
See you next week.